about the technology. But then again, there's going to be a Q&A session, which is the next point where you can ask your questions. At that time, by the time you signify by raising up your hands, you'll be able to enable your mic, sorry, and then you can go ahead to unmute your mic and speak when you are being called upon. And we want to implore you to please follow us on Twitter at NGM365. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up to date on all our events. So all the video recordings of this year's mentorship program since the inception has already been uploaded to the YouTube channel. So you can always go back and check. Yesterday's session has also been uploaded. If you missed it, I would implore you to please go back to that session and rewatch it so you can get what was spoken on about. And also, a feedback form will be shared during this mentorship program. Please ensure to leave your feedback so that we know that we're doing the right thing, or if there are other areas we need to focus on. As you know, this is a free program, so we would really appreciate that. We really value your feedback and also want you to please help us to grow the community by following all our social media handles. If you're on this call right now and you've not followed us everywhere, please, the links will be shared in the chat. Please try to follow us, like, and subscribe. Thank you, guys. So that's it for me at this time. I'll be yielding the mic to, like I said, my Oga, Oyimafu Emmanuel, to take us further in Microsoft Intune. Please, let's show thumbs up with lots of love as we welcome Oyimafu. Thank you.
Yeah, my boss. Good evening, sir. You are my boss now. You are my Oga, and I was so happy that you are here with me today because once they try to ask some questions, I can just like, my boss is here. He can help me answer those questions, and I'm so happy that you are here with me today. Sincerely, when I saw you on the call, I was like, thank God, though, because I know today they will be ready for me. They
Let's
will be
try
ready
to be
for me.
humble, Emmanuel. I know you are trying to be humble.
No, no,
Let's not
no.
try to be humble. All right,
Well
thank
done,
you.
well done, boss. Okay. So first of all, I would like to start with a survey so that at least I can just get some live survey from from us. So let me just share the link. So we can just help us go to the link. Let's just get a live survey. Okay. So you can click on the link. So let me just start presenting. So I just want to get a feedback on last sections that we had so that at least I can improve and the trainers can also improve on delivery. So I will just start. I can see some people have joined. 8 participants are active. Okay, let me move to the next slide. So first point, were the training objective clearly defined? Like how was the training objective? Like did we really understand the objective? Was it clear or it was not so much clear? So just give us your feedback. So we have 10, just 3 have voted. So we can just keep the votes coming. Okay. Training objective was clearly defined. Okay. We have 10. So let me move to the next slide. So now, do you agree or disagree with these statements? The trainer was pace, the training pace was good. The trainer was able to answer all my questions. So if you have any reservation, please be sincere. Just vote the ones you can vote so that today, by the special grace of God, I can address any lapses or anything. If my pace was so fast, so at least I can work on the speed. If the training was not interactive, you can let me know so that today I can make it more interactive. So let's just vote. Let's just vote. Okay, the vote is going up. We have 14. Let's keep it coming. The pace was good. The training was interactive. Okay. I think the training pace was good, is winning. So let's just vote. Let's vote because just like Adekunle said, our feedback matters. So we value your feedback because it helps us to improve the quality of our delivery. So we still have like 6 people that have not voted. Can you just slide in your votes so that we will know how far? Okay. So far so good. We have 4.1, which is training was interactive. Okay. So let me go to the next, which is after yesterday's training, do you feel comfortable handling Intune assigned tasks? So there was a typo here. Do you feel comfortable, like in your organization, can you comfortably like handle some tasks on Intune? Okay, 25% no, 78% yes. Okay, so for those of us that said no, by the grace of God, still we are going to meet up with your expectations so that you can be able to handle Microsoft Intune, at least at a beginner level. Okay, I'll go to the next, which is how can we improve this section? So do you have any feedback you want to give on how you think we can improve the sections, like this next section we have, like just suggestion. Let's just see some live suggestion. We can go ahead, can drop our suggestion on how we can improve the section. Okay, somebody is dropping on the chat, like practice sections, assignments. Okay, today, by the grace of God, I'll come up with an assignment that we are going to work on and post on LinkedIn, at least to make noise about the mentorship program that is going on. So someone just said assignments, so we can keep it coming. More, more feedbacks, more demo. Okay. Today, by God's grace, we'll be doing demo all through. And I have my boss here, Adekunle. At least if I have anything I'm troubleshooting, it can make it very easy for me because it's my orga. So the next is by giving us tasks to perform. Okay, by God's grace, I'll try to at least give some tasks that will perform more demo. Okay. Seems you guys really want demo. You want us to do demonstration. Fine, we'll try our best to do a lot of demonstration. I think if we can be giving more features to access on the demo account created for us. Okay. The demo account created for us, because Intune requires a particular license. I will check if that tenant has that license, then I'll revert back. So the next is for me. We are doing quite all right. Learners need to view the video again and practice. Then at times, the learners did not have resources to run these things. So basically, if I go to our YouTube channel, I'll see that we are not really viewing our videos. Like yesterday, somebody was saying that you want us to do autopilot today. And I was like, our boss on this call, Adekunle, he did a very wonderful section on Windows autopilot. If you have subscribed to our YouTube channel, once you go to our YouTube channel, you will see that video there. So I want us to form an habit of always going back to watch the videos that we have covered. Me, myself, the way I learn, I can watch a video like 5 times before I understand it. So we can cultivate that. You can go back to YouTube, watch the videos, watch the sections. Before you know, it gets used to you. So we can just do that. I think so far it's been great. I can relate with the practical sections very well. Thank God. Okay. I think we have 9 out of 17. We are good. So we can just stop the pool and continue with our class. Okay. I will just I'll start today's section with demo instead of going to do any slide or presentation. So let me just share my screen. Okay. Okay. Yeah, let me know if you can see my screen. You can just give me a thumbs up in the chat. You can just give me a thumbs up, like on just if you can see my screen. Okay. 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 Thank you. So basically, this is my own environment where I'm hosting the virtual machines that we're going to be using to run our tests. And I have just 3 here, plus this Windows server that I did not even, I've not actually run it, but at least these two, we are familiar with it. Yeah. So for those of us using Hyper-V, I showed us how we can install Hyper-V and create virtual machines like this. So my own, yesterday I turned them off because if I don't turn them off, it should be drawing my system and I don't want my system to drag. That was why I had to turn off my VM. So today, because we want to be configuring these systems using Intune, I will turn on these VMs. So I'll just right click and say start. Then I'll come here to right click and say start. Then once it's finished booting, just like our systems, once you turn it on, you have to wait for it to boot before you actually sign into it. I'll just wait for the system to boot. When it boots, I will now sign in so that before I start with the demo, I can just show us those settings that we want to work on. So I will just show us before we just go straight to the class. Okay. So this one is already coming up. It's showing Hyper-V here. This one is showing MKTO2. Okay, still coming up. Okay, so let me go back to Visual. Yesterday, we talked about all these tasks. That's this is what we are going to be performing on those systems. We are going to be configuring those systems. We are going to ensure that the gaming section settings will not be visible to the users. Then the next we are going to do is we are going to ensure that the privacy sections is restricted as much as possible. Like users will not be able to see newly installed apps. And also this folder here, the dev project folder, we want to exclude it from Windows Defender scan. The reason is because there is a particular executable file running inside this folder. And for that reason, we want to exclude this particular folder from Windows Defender. So this is the scenario that we are going to be working on today. Okay. So let me just quickly go to Intune so that we can create a device configuration policy to achieve all this. So I will just come here. I'll log into Microsoft Intune again. I'll just assume that I'm a novice. I don't know anything about Microsoft. So as a novice, if I want to sign into Intune, there are several ways that you can go to the portal. One of the ways is cmd.mx. So this one is just like a URL that gives you access to all the admin centers. Microsoft has changed the design. It wasn't like this before, but there's continuous improvements every day. So here we have Intune. This is Intune. This is the portal I want to access. If I want to access Entra ID, I will click on Entra ID. So let's particularize it. Let me click on this Entra ID now. Let's see. It takes me directly to Entra ID portal. So if I come back to cmd.mx and I click on Intune, to take me to Intune portal. So that is just how cmd.ms works. It makes accessing Microsoft portal easy. But if this is the first time I'm signing into cmd.mx, it should ask me to provide my username and password. So with that, I'll be able to, once I click on any of this portal, I will just be logged in once. So just like other portals too, like Microsoft Defender and the likes. So aside from cmd.mx, you can also access admin centers from M365 admin center. So if you want to do that, you can just go to office.com. So most times when I started my internship, this was the first thing I was able to master because my manager came, she said, go to office.com. Then she was teaching us about Office 365. I was not thinking, which one is office.com again? Then later, I now come up to myself that office.com is just like a portal where you access office apps, like application. That is why it is called office.com. So I wonder why. Okay. So this is office.com. So it just brought me direct to office.com because I've already signed in. But if I've not signed in, it won't bring me here. So from office.com now, you can just click on apps here. So once you click on apps, you can just click on more apps. So I'm assuming that I'm a novice. I just started using Microsoft. So in that case, I'm looking for admin because I'm supposed to stay admin around so that I can just click on admin. So let me look for it. I'm not seeing it here. Let me check chat again. So you can see now it's showing up. Formerly, when I clicked on apps, I didn't see admin. So this admin here, if I click on it, it will take me to M365 Admin Center. And let's not forget, to come here, we have to come to office.com. From office.com, you click on admin. So now this is M365 Admin Center. If I want to access admin portals, all I need to do is I'll click on show all. Once I click on show all, it shows me admin centers. We have security, which is Microsoft Defender. We have Purview, we have Intune, we have Identity, we have Azure, we have Exchange, SharePoint, Teams, and Power Platform. But since we are concerned with Intune, you can just click on Intune. So you can see how this process is very long. You come to office.com. From office.com, you click on admin from apps. Then from admin.apps, you come to M365 Admin Center. From M365 Admin Center, you will now click on Intune. But if you come to cmd.mx, you just come to cmd.ms. From cmd.ms, you select any admin center that you want to select. There are a lot of shortcuts that you can also try to explore on your own. You can write an article on this, like how cmd.mx makes it easy to access admin portals. People will like it. There are some people that don't know about cmd.mx. You can just write about it, and at least you're also sharing the good news and people will appreciate you for that. So let's just come to Intune, which is our business for the day. So just like I made mention earlier, we want to create these settings so that it can affect our systems. And for us to manage this, for us to create these settings and our devices pick it, it means that those devices need to be managed by Intune. And for a device to be managed by Intune, you either register the device to Entra ID, then enroll the device to Intune, or you join the device to Entra ID, then you enroll the device to Intune. So you must either register a device or join a device to Entra before you'll be able to manage that device with Intune. Yeah. So I will just go ahead to create this policy from Intune Admin Center. So from Intune Admin Center, I'll come to devices. Since the policy I want to create is going to affect devices. And from here now, the device I want to apply this policy to is Windows devices, because those systems is in Windows devices that I want to hide gaming section. I don't want it to be visible. So I will just come here from devices here. I will select Windows because I want to manage Windows devices. Then from Windows devices, I will now select configurations. So you can see here, when I selected Windows devices, it showed me all the devices I have. These are the two devices. These are the two VMs that we have. We have we have currently. So let me just show us precise MKTO2 and precise MKTO1. So these are the two devices that we joined to Entra ID that we're using for our tests. So I'll just minimize this. Then I'll click on configuration. Remember, configuration is used to configure the devices. Configuration. So let's wait. So here now, I have two configuration policies that I've already created. So, but we are creating a new policy that is going to prevent the gaming option and other settings. So now from here, since I'm in configuration, under policies, I'll click on create. Then I'll say new policy. So it's more or less like I want to create a configuration policy. Then I'll say new policy. From new policy, it will load. Then it will ask me 2 questions. So here, I need to select the platforms I want to apply the device platforms I want to apply the policy to. Is it Windows 10 and later, or Windows 8.1 and later? So if, for instance, in your organization, you still have systems that are running on Windows 8.1, then you select this if you want the policy to affect those systems. But if your systems are from Windows 10 and above, then you select Windows 10 and later. In my own environment now, I have 2 Windows systems. One is Windows 11 and one is Windows 10. That is why I'm selecting Windows 10 and later. But if I have a system running on Windows 8, then definitely I will select this. So in your own environment, the use case may be different. So I'll select Windows 10 and later. Then after selecting Windows 10 and later, I will now collapse profile types. So in these profile types, we have different settings here that I can pick. So if I select setting catalog, just like a catalog, maybe somebody asks you, like you are into business, okay, give me your catalog. So there you are just trying to display all the items you have. If you are into maybe supermarket, you are displaying all the items you have in a form of a catalog so that the person can view everything. So that is how setting catalog is. Setting catalog is more or less like it gives you access to all the settings. You can search and pick the particular settings that you want. Then properties catalog, it gives you the catalogs of properties. So, but for this configuration profile, I don't want us to use we can use setting catalogs, so, but I don't want us to use it. I want us to go with templates. If I select templates now, then I have the option to pick different templates that Microsoft have with regards to Windows 10 and later. So we have BIOS configuration and other settings. So if I want to create a configuration setting that will affect BIOS, then I'll click on this. So depending on the task you are given, if you want to create a policy that will do domain joined, you click on this. If you want to create a configuration policy for endpoint protection, you click on this. So there are a lot of templates that you can follow to deploy what you want to deploy or the policy you want to create. If you want to create a Wi-Fi policy, you can click on this. And one thing I like about Microsoft is that they always keep something like this here that can give you an heads up of what you want to do. Like PKCS certificate now. If you want to create this, you set up a public key pair certificate to enable certificate-based authentication in your org. So if maybe you have a requirement to enable certificate-based authentication and you want to create that policy on Intune to do that, you can use this template. So depending on the task that is given to you by your boss, that determines the template you will use. So, but for those configurations we want to create, device restriction is okay. So from device restriction now, we can read it there. Intune includes device restriction policies that helps administrators control Windows devices. Remember, I want to control those settings. Like I want to disable gaming. I don't want users to have that gaming features so that they will not be using that feature. And I also want to like restrict some personalization. And I want to add a particular folder to escalation list so that Microsoft Defender will not scan those folders. So if we continue reading, we can see that these restrictions let you control a wide range of settings and features to protect your organization resources. For example, administrator can set a minimum password length and block simple password. So if you want to create a policy to block minimum password length and simple password, you can actually use this policy. Then it now went further that, do you know, consider going to endpoint security to create an endpoint security profile or security baseline profile to configure your common endpoint protection security features. So you can see here that they are also telling us that if you want to create some endpoint security policy, instead of you to do it from device restriction here, it's better you go to the endpoint security part on Microsoft Intune, which I showed us yesterday, and we are going to still look at it today. Then the last is endpoint security profile provide a concise, curated set of security templates, including firewall, BitLocker, antivirus, and more. So meaning that if you want to configure profiles for endpoint security, like configuration profiles, you can go to endpoint security and just create profile for firewall, BitLocker, and antivirus. So most times, like my CTO will always tell me, whenever you're working on anything, always read before you click. Don't just click. Like there are some things now that I've learned from just reading this. So most times it's good if you're working on anything, if there's anything for you to read, try to read it before you just go ahead and just click on it. So I'll click on device restriction. Then I'll say create. So here now, I can give this policy a name. So most times the name you give your policy is very important. Ensure that as an admin, you give a meaningful name that at least reflects what you want to do. So that in case when you are not in that organization, the person taking after you will understand, okay, this is what this person is trying to do. Not that the person will not be confused. So let's say precise should I say developer? Let's say precise restrictions. Let me say precise basic restrictions. Let me say restriction settings. So now in the description, I will now put a very good description here. This policy prevents, or in this description now, I can just come here and paste everything I have here because basically that's what I want to create. So I'll just come here and say, I'll copy this, then I'll paste it here. So, but although it won't allow me to put all the words because there are minimum number of words I can put. But what I'm trying to say is that your description should be explaining what you want to do. So did I copy it well? Let me come back here. I think I did not copy it well. Okay. Okay. So now I can say this policy prevents gaming section settings to be visible. So this policy prevents gaming sections to be visible. I'll go again. Okay, you can say also maybe I can remove this. This policy prevents gaming section in settings to be visible and restrict as much as possible. Then I can say here now, the C drive folder is excluded. Let me say this policy exclude the C drive project folder from Microsoft Defender scan. So basically that's the summary of what I want to do. So I'll just close this. So anybody now that comes here and the person look at this restriction, at least the person will have an idea of, okay, this is what this person is trying to do. Then I'll click on next. So from next now, I have a lot of settings here that I can configure. If I say I should be breaking down all these settings one by one, I won't leave this place. We'll spend the whole night talking about this thing and we won't still finish. So I'll just focus on what we want to create. We'll just be focused on, okay, this is what we want to do. So later on your own spare time, you can go and view all the settings that comes with device restriction templates. So here now, what we want to look at is we are looking at control panel and settings. So let me look for control panel and settings. If I collapse it down, now if I collapse control panel and settings, we will see the gaming section. So this gaming section now, if I block it, those systems, the users if they log into the system, they won't see that gaming part. So this block access to gaming in settings app. You know, if you open settings, let me go to that. Let me go to the VM. Let me log into it so that we'll see what I'm talking about. So if I click on connect, so I'll just wait for, okay. So I know what to do. I'll just still come back here and sign in with Azure AD. Think what's that stuff? Because most time if you want to sign in and you get that error, maybe you are doing your lab, just try to use this method to sign in and you'll be in. So let me just look for the okay. So it may not be case sensitive. You can just continue. Okay. Then you put the password. Then you go. Besides global.com.ng. Let me see. I think let me try again. Okay. Which pin did I set yesterday again? So let me see if it will allow if it will open. So now that it has logged in, so if I click on settings here, so from settings, you see this gaming part is showing now. I want it to be disabled. I don't want my users to see these settings options. That is why I want to block it from here. I'm configuring my devices, so I'll minimize this guy. So the next thing now that we have blocked gaming parts, so the next one to do is want to also go to start. So most times you can just bring it back because because the settings we just did is in control panel, and there are a lot of settings you can do here. But the one we are concerned about is gaming. So when you are done with any section, you can just collapse it back. So the next one we are going to now is start. So for start now, there are options here that I can create. So you can see that settings that I want to stop, recently added apps. So if I come back to my VM here and I go to personalization. So from personalization, I can just come here under start. I can just come here and see, I can just come here and turn off recently added app. But the issue with this one is that it's manual, meaning that if I have 100 systems, I have to be doing them one by one. And that's the advantage of Intune. From Intune, you can manage multiple devices in your environment instead of doing manual work, going there to disable all these things one after the other. So the same thing under recently added apps, I'll say block. So since I've blocked recently added apps, almost recently added app, let me also block most used apps. So I will block most used apps. So I will just leave these ones here. So the remaining settings, if you want to block it, maybe you want to block sign out, you can block it. You know that there are some systems that you can't shut down. If you click on the Windows key, if you click on shutdown, you won't see shutdown. You can block it if you want to block shutdown. You can block sleep so that there should not be sleeping systems. Maybe if you have a need in your organization, you don't want users to be sleeping the system, you can block it so that any system that is joined to that environment, you can block sleep options. There are other settings you can do from here, but we are focused on our our deliverables. So let me just go back and collapse stats. So after collapsing stats, I will now go to Microsoft Defender Antivirus section, which is this part. Remember, I want to create exclusions for a particular folder so that Microsoft Defender will not be scanning those folders. So under Microsoft Defender, I will expand Microsoft Defender Antivirus exclusions. So let me look for it. So we have Microsoft Defender Antivirus exclusions here. So I will collapse it. Then I'll put the folder path that I want to block. So let me come to my system. So it should not be as if maybe we're just doing magic here. So I will come to this system. Then I'll go to File Explorer. In my File Explorer, I'll create a folder in my C drive called Dev Projects. So let me just wait for it to load. So now this is a virtual machine. So I'll just click on this PC. Then I'll create a folder there. So the folder needs to be existing so that at least if the policy wants to work, it can have maybe a place to check for any file. So this is my C drive. So I want to create a folder here called Dev Projects. So I'll say folder, then I'll call this folder Dev Projects. So this Dev Project folder now is assumed that I have an executable file here that I don't want, because of that file, I don't want Microsoft Defender to scan this folder. One use case is in your organization, you may have maybe developers and they have a lot of scripts, a lot of files. So you may want to exclude some of their folders from scan so that Microsoft Defender will not be scanning them. So that's a use case. So, but in our own case, we want to exclude this dev project folder. So I'll just right click and check for the path. So I can go to properties. Then from properties, if I go to sharing, although it's not shared, but I just want the path. So let me close this. Let me click on shift and right click. Then let me say copy as path. Then let me look for a notepad. Let me paste it there so that I'll see the path. Because it's good you know the path of the folder that you want to actually exclude. That's one important thing that we need to know when you are doing all these things. So I'll paste it. So this is the path, right? So this part now is what is the folder that I want to exclude from Microsoft Defender. So I will just exclude it. So I'll come here, I'll paste it here. So now, in this folder now, I'm not just targeting only this folder. I want to also target an extension that is there. So what I will do, maybe for instance, if I have multiple executable files in this folder, I can just put star dot exe. So what this means is that any file that has ESC extension, you should not scan it inside this folder. So this time now, I'm not just excluding, I'm excluding this folder, but I'm being specific of the extensions I want it not to scan. But if there are other files like documents or the likes in this folder, it can scan those ones. But executable file like this, I don't want it to scan it. You can be more specific of the executable file you don't want it to scan. That's also practicing zero trust. Instead of it to say, don't scan all the executable file. What if there are some executable files that are corrupt? So you can just say, okay, I trust this particular executable file. So the file could be, let's say, dev build. So this could be the name of the executable file. So the other, if you use asterisk, that means all the executable file in this folder, it won't scan them. But if you use this one, it's more or less like you are being specific that, okay, this executable file, don't scan it. So in that case, I'll leave this setting because this is what I really want. I don't want it to like skip all the executable file in the folder. So from here, there are other settings you can also configure in Intune. So, but you can just go for the best that you can just go for the ones that fit your organization. So I've configured those settings. So the first thing we did, let me come again. From control panel settings, we blocked gaming because we don't want users to have access to gaming. Then after blocking gaming, we came to stats. From stats, we came down. We blocked most used apps and we blocked recently added apps. But let me collapse it. Then we now came to Microsoft Defender. We now created exclusions. So in your own environment now, maybe your CTO is telling you, there's a particular folder that I don't want Microsoft Defender to scan. At least you have an idea. You can say, yes, we can exclude it. We can exclude it. Things like that. So we go up, then we do next. So this next part now, this is where you assign this policy to a particular group of devices. So basically, if you say all devices, it means that the policy is going to apply to all devices. But remember, it is not best practice to apply policy to all devices. It is good to test first. You can start with pilot devices. You can start with few devices before you just push to all devices. So in my own case, I won't use all devices, but you can set to all devices. I'll remove. Then I'll click on add group so that I can add a particular group. So remember yesterday, we created some groups that we'll be using for tests. And one of those groups we created was precise marketing devices. So I want this policy to have to affect the marketing users. So if you want the policy to affect, let's say you want it to affect, you want it to affect you want it to affect, maybe you have the developers team. That means you can create a group on Entra for that team. Then you add their devices to that group, either using dynamic group or assign group. So I'll just select precise marketing devices. Then I say select. So now we can see here that among all these devices now, among the group members, it's only one device that is a member here. So I'm going to go and add the other device, but we can just start with one device first. Remember, if you're applying any policy, you test it first. You don't just push it to the entire organization. Then we go next. So for applicability rules. So if you want to create maybe rules that determines when policy will run, or like here now, right, assign policy if you can create some conditions. If OS is equals to, you can say assign policy if OS version is this. So you can even restrict the applicability of your policy. You can say if edition is this Windows 11 Enterprise. That means if you are creating this policy now, if the edition is not Windows 11 Enterprise, it will not apply. If it is not Windows 11 Professional, it will not apply. But we won't do all this because all these ones are like, you are trying to go deeper, like wanting to. So I'll just create this policy. So now I want to see if the policy is working because I already have a device that I've already signed into. So this is the device. So right now, for it to work, I need to sync this device with Microsoft Intune. Because I've already enrolled the device to Intune, I need to sync it. So basically, you may be given a task by your boss that's okay, create this policy, test it with some few devices. So it depends on the device. So most times, if you want to like get quick results from policies you are creating, you don't want to wait until when the policy runs. You can just come to the system, then you go to Windows key, you click on settings. Then from settings, you go to accounts. From accounts, you go to access work or school. From access work or school, you will see something like this. This device is connected by Schneider to Precise Marketing MKT. So you collapse it. So once you collapse it, you see something like info here, which is managed by Precise Online Market. So because this device is managed and owned by Precise Online Market, then these settings, I can actually confirm if they are working on this device. And aside that, that group, this device is a member of that group. That is why the policy will even affect it. Then I'll click on info. So from info here, I'll come down and see sync. We can see the last time sync happened. Sync happened 12:46, 12:49, 49 p.m. So now I want to run sync now because I just created the policy. So I'll run sync. So once I run sync, I'll now go and check if those particular settings are visible or they are not visible. So here now we can see that gaming is not even showing, but let's just run things so that we can confirm if the policy is really working or not. So the time on my PC is saying 12:51. So this is 12:51. So now that I've run sync, let me confirm because from here now we are not seeing gaming. So let me go to personalization. Let me see if the start has been turned off. So we can see here, show recent app is off, show most used app is off. So this settings was configured in Intune. If I have like 100 devices, so long as those devices are in that group, these settings will apply to all those devices. So let me go and check Microsoft Defender. Let me see if it excluded that folder. So let me go to privacy and security, then Windows security, then virus and threat protection. From virus and threat protection, I will now go to manage settings. From manage settings, I will click on, so this is where I will know if the exclusion works. I'll click on add or remove exclusions. So it will ask me for admin credentials because you have to be an admin before you be able to view those things. So let me put my email. So you can see an advantage of a device that is managed. So your users cannot just access any settings that they like. So, which is good. Okay. Let me use Azure AD. Let's see if it's going to work. Okay. Let me try this method. Security device credentials, use a different account. Let me see. So if maybe if I sign into this device now because I'm a global admin and so I can be able to view that settings. So, but in that case, let me chill for now. Or let me try one last time. Let me see. Okay, it's still complaining that to continue. Okay, let me use my local admin password. But it's asking for email. I wish it can allow me use other methods. Okay. I think I put the wrong pin. Let me see. Okay. So we can just leave this. So later we'll look at that. So for me to view exclusions, there is a permission I need to have, except if I want to sign in with my credential. So let me just leave that one. So, but we have confirmed that at least from settings here, we are not seeing gaming. Gaming is not displaying here. And we also confirmed that under personalization, under stats here, those features are not showing. You can see off. So we can continue with other things we have to do today. So let me just check. Okay. So if you have any question, you can be dropping your question in the chat. My boss is on the call, so at least he can help me answer some of the questions even before I even start. So it's my guy. So the next now we want to do is we want to configure policy for like, I don't know if some of us have heard of kiosks before. Kiosks, KIOSK. Let me drop it on the chat. Kiosks. Have we heard of kiosks? Kiosks. Oh, name of a shop. I love that. That person is, as in, you won my heart. Because even me, when I drop it, what came to my mind, I say kiosk is the name of a shop now. That's true, where they sell stuff. Yeah, that's true. That's true. This is true. This is true. We are really on point. I like the fact. So this kiosk now is more or less like where, if you go to a shop, the person will be inside the shop and ask you what do you want to buy. Then you can tell the person, okay, this is what I want to buy. I want to buy maybe Indomie. You are hungry, you want to eat Hungry Man. You can buy Hungry Man size. Then you enjoy yourself after cooking it. So in that case, it's you versus the seller. So if, for instance, now you have an application for visitor management, like maybe a visitor management app, and you want it to be you want it to be like anytime users come, you want to have a PC that automatically displays the website of that visitors management apps, of that visitor management website, so that it will be like a kiosk. It will be like a shop that you can just go, you can ask what you want to, you can buy. But the difference between this kiosk and the one we know, where we go and buy Hungry Man Indomie or Belle Food, is different from that one because this one is a digital kiosk where you have access to a website. You can actually like sign in. If maybe the organization are using visitor management system, you can clock in. The only thing you can see in that system is just that website. You can't do any other thing with that system. So it is configured as a kiosk. So we are going to see how we can create a kiosk, and we are going to be testing it with the other system that we have, which is this Windows. What's the name of that system? What's that system again? This Windows 10. We'll be testing it with this Windows 10 system here. So for that, I'm going to create a group for kiosk devices. For those of us that are just joining us today, we are going to see how we can create a group. So I want to create a group for kiosks so that at least we can actually create a group today so that all the devices. Maybe for instance, if in my environment we have many kiosks, I want to be managing them with a group, then I can just create a group and add them there. So I can come to new group, then I'll leave it as security group. Then I'll say precise kiosk. Kiosk devices. So I will now click on members so that I can add the system that I want to add to the group. So I'm doing assign because I don't want to do dynamic, but if you want to do dynamic group, you can just configure a dynamic device group, just like I showed us yesterday. So I've added that computer, which is the second one, MKTO2 that I want to test. So I'll click OK, then I'll say create. So now that I've created that device, the next thing I will do, I will go to Intune and create a configuration profile that I will use to configure that device to function as a kiosk, to function as a system that displays a URL for either visitors or, let's say, it depends on your company. There are some company that they have bots, they have chatbots that if you come in with the chatbot, it can direct you on the offices to go. If the office is in the fourth floor, fifth floor, it will tell you. So those chatbots now, you can just build a kiosk that automatically loads that chatbot so that that's the only thing that the visitors will have access to when they come. So that's just an example of a kiosk, a system that attends to people. Just like if you go to a shop now, you want to buy something, the person will attend to you. But this one is a digital system that has a URL that you can go to and do what you want to do, but just that URL. Then I'll go to Intune now and create a policy to configure my kiosk devices. Then I'll select devices here. Then from devices, I'll select the platform. Remember, we are facing Windows devices. So I'll click on Windows devices. Then from Windows devices, I'll select configuration because what I want to create is configuration. So I'll select configuration. So from configuration now, I'll create another policy. So I will click on create and I'll say new policy. So the device I have is Windows 10. So I will say Windows 10 and later. So I'll select it. Then the profile type now, I'll still use templates. So from templates, I will now select kiosk. So let's read what kiosk is. So on devices running Windows 10 or later, use Intune to run devices as a kiosk. Sometimes sometimes known as a dedicated device. A device, a device in kiosk mode can run one app or run many apps. You can show and customize startup menu, add different apps, including Win32 apps, specific homepage to a web browser, and more. These features apply to Windows 10 and later, and Windows homographics for business. Yeah, so that's just how the kiosk works. So like I always say, most times before you click on anything, you can just take your time to read the policy. It will be good to help. So I'll click on kiosk. Then from kiosk, once I select it, I should be able to create it. Can't I create it? Yeah, I wonder why. Let me refresh, let me see. Okay, so I'll select the profile type, template, then I'll select kiosk. So once I select kiosk, I'll select create. So here now, I'll give it a meaningful name. So the name I'll give it will be precise kiosk policies. Then I'll give it a description. I'll call it basic settings for precise kiosk devices. Then I'll do next so that I can configure it. So for kiosk mode, if you want to run multiple apps kiosks or you want to run single app kiosk, you select it. So for my case, I want to run single app and full screen kiosk. So if you want to run multiple apps, maybe you want multiple apps to be running on that kiosk, then you can select any of the use case. So I'll select single apps kiosk. So for single app kiosk, under the configuration settings here, under the user logon, I'll select auto logon. So for user logon, I will just select auto logon, Windows 10 version 10.1. So remember, it applies to Windows 10 and later. So you can either select any of the settings here as the case as it affects your organization. So I'll select this. So some organization can say they can say local user accounts or so. Then I will now select application type. So the application type, I can select Edge kiosk URL. So let me see. Mm, so the URL now that I want to show, I'll be using http.bing.com. But on a normal day, your organization may have the URL that they want to show. Maybe their developers has built a website. An example of kiosk could be, maybe for instance, you have something like something that welcomes people to your organization. Like maybe if you are working with, let's say, you are working with tech experts now or tech knowledge. If you come in,
Yeah. Hello, Emmanuel. We can't hear you. Emmanuel, let's just give him a minute while he sorts his mic.
okay. Think I got a little network issues. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, boss. Okay. So let me just, but can you still see my screen?
Yes, you can see it.
Okay, thank you very much. So I will just put in the URL. So the example I was giving is like it could be let's say like it could be maybe a website that displays news information about the company, but you just want to set it up so that the system will be showing just that. So that could be kiosk. So I will now go to the Microsoft Edge and kiosk mode type. So the kiosk mode type, I will leave it to be public browsing in private. So you can set it to be digital interactive signage. But all these things, the more you do them, the more complex it becomes. So just depending on what you want, basically. So you can use any generative AI like ChatGPT to actually, maybe if your organization is having a like another different use case, you can go to Microsoft Learn also and read some documentation there regarding to that. So for maintenance window, you can decide to set maintenance window, but I don't want any maintenance window, so I'll just say not configured. Then I'll do next. So here now, that group I created, I will add that group here so that this policy will apply to just that computer. So I'll just come here and search for, once it loads, I'll select that group. So I'll select, what's the name of that group again? Precise kiosk device. So this is it. I'll select it and say select. Then I'll go next. I don't want to apply any applicability rule. I'll do next. Then I'll click create. So now that I've applied that policy to that device, let's log into the device so that we can check. So I'll connect to this system. Let me see. So let me sign in with another user. This time, let me sign in with myself instead of the other person. So because this system has been joined to Entra ID, I have other user option. So let me click on other user. Let me see. Or let me see Azure AD. Okay, so let me try this. So just like the normal prompts you get when you are setting up a system, we are getting everything ready. Please wait. So it will load. Then I will just wait for it to sign in. So that we'll go and check if we'll first of all sync device to ensure that the device is syncing with Intune. So you can even sync a device from Intune Portal. So let me show us how to do that. So if you want to sync a device from Intune Portal, so you come to Windows devices under devices here. So if I come to devices, so I'll just wait for it. Then you select all devices. Then this is the device now that we apply that policy to, is in the kiosk, precise kiosk group. So I'll select it. So I don't know, please, can you see my screen? Because somebody just dropped down, I'm not seeing the video.
We can still see it. Can still see it, I'm sure.
Okay, okay, thank you. So from here now, if I want to sync the device, I can just click on sync from here. Sync. So this sync I'm doing from here is still the same thing as the one I did in the system that I went to settings, control, and I sync. So there are several things you can do if a device is managed with Intune. You can retire the device, you can wipe the device, you can delete the device. Each of these things has is meaning. So if you click on restart, as that device is, I can restart it from here. If I say restart, the device will restart. It may not restart immediately, but it will show restart. So that's how powerful those are the powerful things you can do with Microsoft Intune. You can collect diagnostics from a device. From this device now, I can collect diagnostics. I can view the model. So this device now is a virtual machine. Adibin is HP, so. You will see it. You will see the operating system. If it's compliant, you will see it and all. If you click on hardware now, it will give you the hardware components. But this system is a virtual machine. So you won't really see anything. So you can see other settings that you can also view. So if I click on device configurations now, I will see the device configurations that are applied to, I will see some configurations that apply to this device. But for now, the device has not picked those configurations. If it has picked them, you will see them here. So let's just wait for the sync to complete. So there are other things you can still view, like manage apps. If there are apps that you have pushed to this device, you will see them. Group membership, you see the groups that this device belongs to. So once it loads now, we'll see that it belongs to the kiosk devices. And so these are the groups that these devices belongs to. It belongs to precise kiosk devices, Windows devices, and enrolled devices. So if maybe you are troubleshooting and you apply a policy to a group and you want to know if maybe the group, you want to know the group that the device belongs to, just come to group membership under the device. You will see all the groups that it belongs to. So if you are using BitLocker, you can get recovery key from here. But because I've not created BitLocker policy, so we won't see those things here. So those are just what you can play with in terms of devices. Okay, so let me see if that system I've signed into that system. So let me check. Okay. So the system has signed in and they say use Windows Hello with your account. Okay, no problem. Let me use Windows Hello. So we are trying to test the kiosk. So we are signing into the device so that we can actually confirm. So I'll just sign in. MFE. Okay. Let me wait for it to come. So I'm having network issues with my phone. Let me see because I had to switch my internet when I had network issues the other time. Let me try. Okay, it has come. 94. Okay. Yeah. Maybe because of the delay. Let me do something. Mm, so I'm just trying to check while it's not, is it network? Let me see. So it's supposed to have picked it. So let me use this. I can't use my authenticator app right now. Let me go for text so that it should send me a text message. So I can use that one for the verification. So it could be internet. but I think test message will come. So we'll just wait for it to load. So while it's loading, let me show us how to create other policies in Intune, like how to create configuration policies for iOS and iPad devices. So I will just go back to Intune portal. So we'll check that system later. So we want to create a policy for iOS and iPad device. So I want us to use this scenario. So let me just put this scenario on the chat so that we can see the scenario that I want to paint, so that we can create the policy for iOS devices. So let me just drop it on the chat. And let me also show it on my screen so that to be easier for everybody to read. So I've dropped the scenario on the chat. So let me just do this. Apologies. So this is what we want to do. So we want to actually do this. So let me bolden it. So this is basically what we want to do. So this is what we want to do. So this is the scenario. I have been asked by my boss to create a configuration policy to be used to automatically configure Wi-Fi settings for enrolled iOS and iPad devices. So I want to create a configuration policy for what iOS and iPad devices. So this is what I need to do. I need to ensure that the Wi-Fi settings are configured as follows. So the network name will be Contoso Wi-Fi. This could be the name of your company. It could be KPMG, it could be InterSwitch, it could be FBN, it could be WEMA, it could be GTB, it could be Access, depending on your company. So you are trying to configure Wi-Fi settings for enrolled iOS and iPad devices. So the name of the network will be Contoso Wi-Fi, then the SSID, main office, then the connect automatically, you are enabling it, security types, WPA and WPA2 personal. So depending on the type you want to create, then this is the pre-shared key. So what this means is that all your devices, your enrolled iOS and iPad devices, once once they are in the office, it will automatically log them into this Wi-Fi. All those ones that they will be coming to meet IT. What's the password? What's your Wi-Fi password? You don't want it. Maybe the manager is tired, like why are users always coming? Wi-Fi password, Wi-Fi password. So you can use Intune to also configure that, like configure Wi-Fi settings on your devices so that you don't need to tell your users the password. You can just configure it from the back end. So let's do that in Intune. Creating configuration policies for iOS devices. So right now, first thing first, I will need to create a group for my iPad devices so that if I'm creating the policy, I can easily scope the policy to that group. So let me refresh. So it's asking me to set up new pin. So this is that system we're working on. Let me see. So you can see how it is. So it will load. So once I sign in, I will now go and do manual sync on the system, but we just want to be sure that the kiosk settings we did is working. So let's come to Entra so that we can create a group for iOS and iPad devices. So let me click on all groups. Then click on new group. So we'll just be patient. My network is very fast. So I'll just come here and call this policy, this group name, iOS underscore iPad OS devices. So these are for iOS and iPad OS. So the reason why I'm creating this group is that I want all the devices, all my managed devices that are iPhone and iPad, iOS, like iPhone and both the tab and all. I want to add them to this group. So that's why I'm creating it. I'll just give the group a name. So the membership type, I'll leave it to assign. So I don't have any iOS device. I don't have, okay, the only one I have that is close is this my iPhone here. And this iPhone, it is not like I'm not managing it with this organization because it's my personal phone. So I'm not managing it there. So I'll just select it because this is the only iPhone I have. All these ones are Windows devices. So I'll select it because it's an iOS device. Then I'll click on create. Then I can go if we come to devices here now. So let me just show us that phone. So it's a mobile phone. We're going to see the settings if it's managed or if it's not managed. So let's wait for it to load. So it is registered, but it is not managed. So let me show us why I concluded that. So from here now, we can see that this iPhone now, the OS is iOS. The version is 26.3.1. Then it is Entra ID registered. But for MDM, which it is none. It means that this device, I'm not managing it with Intune. I'm not managing it with Intune. So even if I create a policy and I add that group that I created with this device as a member, it will not apply to the device because the device has not been enrolled to Intune. So those are the things we need to take note of. So MDN, if you see none, it means that the device is not being managed by Intune. So a device can be registered and also managed by Intune. It can be joined and also managed by Intune, but it has to be joined or registered because before you can manage it with Intune. So let's go back to Intune so that we can create the configuration profile for iOS devices. So here now, since the policy I want to create is going to affect iOS and iPad, so I will select it. So just like we did for Windows device. So from here now, you will see that nothing, because that device is not enrolled to Intune. Had it been it was enrolled to Intune, it will show here. But I just want to show us how to create the configuration policy. So I'll click on configuration, then click on create. Then I'll click on new policy. So for profile type, I'll select templates. Then for templates, I'll select Wi-Fi. Since the policy I want to create is to configure Wi-Fi, so I'll select Wi-Fi, then say create. So here now, I'll just call it iOS and Wi-Fi policy. Description, I'll call it Wi-Fi settings for iOS devices so that any other person that is coming to work here will understand that, okay, this is what I did. Then for configuration type, I'll set it to basic. So you can set it to enterprise. So anyone you set it to, it depends on the settings you get. For enterprise now, we can see that we have different authentication method, IP, IPTLS. So those of us that are very good with networking will understand all these things, but we are going for basic. So for basic, you won't see those IPTLS and all those things. So here now, remember from the settings we want to give, the network name is going to be Contoso Wi-Fi. Let's not forget. So you are configuring the network name to be Contoso Wi-Fi. Then the SSID. So SSID is just like the name of the Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi name. So those of us that use MTN router, so the name of that particular router that people connect, the name of that Wi-Fi that people connect to is your SSID. So the SSID now will be main office. That's it. Then the next one is connect automatically. So for connect automatically, I can disable it, but I will enable it so that once the devices have access to this Contoso Wi-Fi, it should connect automatically anytime they are in the main office. So for security type, so I can select any of the options. So there depends on the Wi-Fi settings configured by the network team. So you could use WPA, you could use, so depending on the organization. If your networking team use no authentication, you select it. So depending. So I'll use this. So this is where I'll now put the password. So I'll put that password that was given to us. I'll copy it. Now paste it there. Then proxy settings, I will leave it as default. So this is just basically what the settings we are configuring. And that's what is here. So you have been tasked now to do all this. You have been tasked to do this, right? Create a configuration profile that will use to automatically configure Wi-Fi settings. And that's what you are trying to create, to configure Wi-Fi settings on all your iOS devices. And your CTO told you that you need to ensure that the SSID name is Contoso Wi-Fi. The SSID is main office. Connect automatically is what? Enabled. Security type, preset key. So those are just the things that you need to take note of. So basically, if in your own organization, your networking team will give you everything you need. They will give you the network name, the SSID, the security type, the preset key and all. Then we'll go next. So the assignments now, I'm going to assign it to my iOS devices so that the policy will affect my iOS devices. So this is it, iOS and iPad devices. I'll select it and say select. So it's calculating group members. Okay, just one device. So let me say okay. So you can see I've signed into the Windows 10 device. So here now, let me go and run sync manually. So I'll come to settings. Then from settings, I'll go to account. Then from account, I'll go to access work or school. Just like we did on the Windows 11 device, you select this, then you click on info. Then once you click on info, you go down. You will now select sync. So let's just wait for it to sync before we restart it and test if the kiosk is going to work. So I'll now do next, then I'll do create. So this is going to be our last demonstration because today is Sunday. Some of us want to go to work tomorrow, so I don't want to spend much time on the call so that we can go and prepare for work. So I'll just refresh this page. So aside creating configuration profiles for devices, you can also push apps using Intune, like Office apps. So if you want to push Office apps using Intune, you come to apps. So just like Windows, just like devices where you have Windows, iOS, macOS, under application too, you can decide to push application to any device platforms that you like. So I'll click on Windows so that I can push Office app to Windows. So I already have Microsoft 365 app for Windows 10 and later. So what I will do is I will just assign this I will assign Contoso Windows devices to this policy so that all the Windows devices, this policy is going to apply to all those devices. So I think, let me see. Okay, this one is still running. Okay, so now we can see that this Office app has been installed on one device. So if I come to device install status, let me see the device that app installed in. So now this precise MKTO1 Office application has been installed on that device. So normally as admins, you can be asked to set up a system. In setting up the system, they will say you should install Office apps, install this, install Chrome, install Adobe Reader, install what have you. So with Intune, you can, if that policy, you can deploy that policy using Intune, just like Office 365 now that has been used. So if I come to Office 365 now, I can edit it so that we'll view the settings of that policy. So if I click on properties, I'm going to see the settings. So the name of this policy is Microsoft 365 apps for Windows 10 and later. So if I come down, you will see the publisher name, Microsoft, category, productivity, information URL, logo, the app suite configuration. You can see what's the Access, OneNote, PowerPoint, Teams, Word, and all. So the update channel now, this is set to enterprise, to monthly enterprise channel. I can change it. If I click on edit, I can edit those things here. So I can come down. If I don't want it to be monthly enterprise channel, I want it to be semi-annual channel, I can configure it and lots more. Version to install latest. If I don't want it to install latest, I can say specific so that it don't just go and install latest version. So these are just how you can create app configuration profile to install applications on devices. So I'll cancel. I'll say okay. So if we come to, so this policy is assigned to precise marketing device. And if I come to precise market, if I come to groups and I go to precise marketing device, we'll see that only that computer is a member of that group. So that is why the policy is pushing to that group. So if I open precise marketing device, I go to members. So I will see here that that computer is a member of this group, which is precise MKTO1. So this is the computer now that Office have installed. So if I open that computer, I can also see it. So if I click on the search bar here, sincerely, I did not install Office app, but you can see Outlook has been installed, PowerPoint has been installed, OneNote and all. So this lady now, she's ready. She can access Outlook, send emails, do everything she wants to do because the apps has been installed. So somebody talk of company portal yesterday. So with company portal, you can monitor app installation or the likes. So that's just it. So I'll be ending the class from here. So I'll be handing over to my Oga at the top, Adekunle, so you can take over from here. Thank you, sir. Hello,
Yeah,
Adekunle.
all right. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Thanks for the training. Let's keep the reactions coming. If you've learned one or two things or 100 things, let's keep the reactions coming. All right. So as we know, we'll be taking the question and answer session. Emmanuel is still here. I'll also be around to provide guidance as much as I can. But if you have any questions that you want to speak to, you can just raise up your hand so I can call you, or if you want to drop your question in the chat. Well, now it's time for the Q&A. So what are we starting with? Or do we clearly understand everything that has been taught today? Okay, so I can see Peter, I would enable your mic so you can unmute and speak. So please unmute your mic and go ahead with your question. Yeah, Peter, you can unmute your mic now and speak.
So it seems Peter is not here. So
His mic currently just got unmuted, so let's see. Or if we can't get him to speak, I think we have a second person, Oluwatoyin. You've also been enabled, so you can unmute your mic and speak while we wait for Peter.
so you can see that the
Good
kiosk,
evening.
the device is running. So it's running in kiosk mode. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Manuel, for the section. It was really insightful. I really learned a lot. You made mention of I was one who suggested if we can be given access to practice on the demo account, and you said you check for the license if we could have access to it.
Yeah, I'll check. I'll check. I'll check later. I've forgotten my password. So I will ask the admin to reset my password so that I can check. I'll check and get back to you.
Okay, thank you. And also one more thing. I was the one who asked the question of how to go about showcasing your portfolio in IT. So, what about the practical aspect? If we want to showcase our practical aspects of what we learned, how do we go about it? How do we document it? Aside the writing you suggested yesterday.
Okay. How you document it? You can use Microsoft Word to write it down. So once you use Microsoft Word to write it down and format it, you can upload it to GitHub. You can use Medium. Then you can just post it to LinkedIn as an article so that people read it. Then I think that's all. But Adekunle, I don't know if you want to add something to it, how they can actually publish their stuff to everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Emmanuel. So, to you, Oluwatoyin. So you just need to decide how you want to, or find the right medium. There are several ways. You've mentioned GitHub or it could also be like a WordPress website or something. It could be LinkedIn. So it's just something you need to find out and know that you can be consistent with. So for example, if you know that, okay, you can be consistent with noting it down, just coming up with a document and then or consistent post on any of your social or LinkedIn, which is more like a professional one, that's something you would have to stick with. So you can start off, and the thing is, you don't have to go a full bank with everything. You can start with one, and then as time goes on, you can start moving to the other platforms as well. So you just need to decide and say, okay, I want to start by maybe posting whatever I need to do, collect my ideas on Word documents, and then post them into LinkedIn or share my GitHub links with colleagues, friends, and everything. You could even share your idea as well, even on the Microsoft 365 mentorship group, the one on WhatsApp and on the Discord server. And you can have other mentees look at it. Even mentors, we can also look at it as well. But you just have to determine how you want to do it. There are several mediums. So I don't think I want to sell one to you because I don't even work for any of them. So you have to determine the one that would work for you, that fits with your niche and what you want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you very much. It makes
All right.
sense.
Okay, thank you. So Peter, I don't know if you can still speak. We're trying to get you to speak. But I think we also have. Okay, Peter has dropped a message. Before I enable Michael's mic, Peter has dropped a message. So let's see. To read that chat real quick. Okay, so Peter said, well, I don't know what's wrong with my mic. Okay. What he wants to ask is about giving something like an assignment. Is important in reinforcing what is being learned. I think this should be looked into. Yeah. So as regards assignment, even if you are not verbally given an assignment, it's also expected that for everything you learn in each of these classes, if you have the right resources, you can also try out on your own. So more like this is a guided learning, and then you can take a personal study into what you've learned, and which is more reason why we have all these sessions recorded. So you can go back to the recording, follow the exact steps Emmanuel has done, and you try to achieve the same results. So when it doesn't work that way, you know you're getting yourself into a troubleshooting and debugging mode, and you have to find a way to make it work. So that just goes to say that in case there are no written assignments or enforced assignments as you would expect, it's just expedient that you do the same thing when you go back to the videos, and which is why we always ensure that we have these videos. It's on YouTube. It's not just there to bring up numbers or anything. It's so that you can always go back, because some people might have joined this call, lost connection at some time, or maybe you joined, you left, or some people joined and are doing some other things. But if you are really, really sure you want to grab the knowledge, you would obviously want to go back to it and go through it. So that's like a form of assignment from us as well, unspoken actually, but that's something we would expect that every mentee would do as you continue in the program. Thank you, Peter. All right, so I'd enable Michael's mic. So Michael, you can unmute your mic and speak now.
Okay, thank you, Adekunle.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Emmanuel. This meeting has been insightful since yesterday. So I was just thinking, so when you wanted to do this configuration with your iOS devices, you had to go to Entra to create a group, then add these devices there. So I was just thinking, can you do that, without having to go to, because yesterday you're saying that you can create group your users on Intune too. So can you do that without having to go to Entra, create your group on Intune, then add your devices there. Then if you can, is it independent or is it still attached to the Entra? I don't know if you understand. Is it like, does it have a backbone connection with Entra ID? Talking about Intune. Yeah, so that's the question.
Okay. So I like that question. So basically, that's a very good question. So if I create users from Intune, the users still show in Entra, so they are tightly integrated. But just that I don't want to confuse us. So that was why since we are familiar with Entra, that you can create users and groups in Entra, that was why I went to Entra. But from Intune, the groups you will see there, it's still the same group you see in Entra ID. So they are syncing. So if you create a group in Intune, if you go to Entra, you see the group. So that's just how it works. I don't know if I answered you, or Adekunle, you want to add something?
Yeah, so maybe I could
Okay.
just give some more context. Thanks,
Okay.
okay, Mano. So, Michael, the thing is, Microsoft's Entra ID is the directory for your identity service. So basically what it means is Entra ID houses everything for user identity, device identity, service principal identities, everything. I think we've learned that when we had the Entra ID series. So basically, what you see on Intune is just an offshoot of what you are seeing on Entra. I don't want to call it a duplicate because it's not a duplicate, it's the same replication. So if you are creating users in the users blade in Entra, I hope my English is correct now. If you are creating users in the users blade in Entra, it's the same user you are creating in the users blade in Intune. It's just an extension of that same directory because everything is still revolving around Entra. So what you would see, for example, the groups you create in Intune, you would see distribution security groups, sorry, and that's because those are groups that I can actually assign when it comes to Intune assignments. So you see those kind of groups. You can also create those kind of groups. You can even create other type of groups, I think, in the Intune, but it's the same as the Entra, and that's why in the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, you find that all these products are tightly connected. It's such that because all of them are picking their identity from Entra ID. Entra ID is like your home or the hub for all of them to run by. For example, if by the time you get to Defender for Endpoint 2, you see how devices that you are seeing in Defender for Endpoints are the same devices you see in Entra if they are enrolled or if they are joined to your domain, basically. So it's the same. Let's not, there are no disparity, no difference. The same user blade, devices blade, group blade you find in Entra. The only thing that might be different, and I think it's best I say it, is the devices, because Entra devices are different from Intune devices. And our mentor Emmanuel has definitely explained it severally on each of the sessions. Entra devices, joint devices, Intune devices are enrolled devices. You devices that are in devices. I hope you know that. So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you for that question. So would there be any more questions? I think so. I can't see any ones and raised anymore. I think it's been a very great session. Okay, so that's it. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope you've had a very great time learning about Microsoft Intune, Microsoft's endpoint solution. And please, once again, I just want you guys to help me appreciate Emmanuel, who has taken this class in 2 weeks and trashed out everything about Microsoft Intune. Okay. I think someone just raised their hand, or Ogunbowale, or is that a reaction to Emmanuel? Okay, I'll just allow your mic to see if you have a question. That will probably be our last question before we close out.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you for today's class. Really appreciate it. My question is not about the class. I just joined this course, and it seems like I'm far gone because my first class was yesterday evening, and I don't really understand. Is it that I joined late or something? Because last week there was no class. That was supposed to be our first class. There was no class for last week. So I'm surprised that I'm joining and it's half gone. And it's half gone. I'm really surprised and some kind of lost as well, sir.
Okay, thanks for that question. Emmanuel, if you are speaking, you're muted. I don't know if you want to take
Okay.
that.
Okay, no, you can take it.
Okay, so first off, you're welcome, Ogunbowale Kehinde. So yes, there was no class last week because of the festivities and everything, and which is why I was brought to this week. But then again, I would say it doesn't matter at the time you probably join. It just matters the level of commitment you would want to attach to the training. And because every session is recorded, and even outside of the Teams meeting, we also have like a Teams chat. Sorry, it's a WhatsApp chat and a Discord server where we discuss um offshoots of whatever has been spoken on these sessions. So if there's any part you feel like you missed out, first thing I want to say is please go back and rewatch the video. So the one that was done yesterday and today's one. Today's one will be uploaded in the next hour. You should probably have it on YouTube already. By the time we stop the recording, it will be available on YouTube. You can also watch yesterday's one. And so if you now have any questions that might stem up from what you've watched, you can ask questions. You can easily reach out to Emmanuel on LinkedIn or any of his social media pages. You can also reach out to other mentors. And like I said, the WhatsApp chats, you can also drop your messages there because even some of the mentees are able to even provide responses because we have some people here that are very, very vast and have been using this same technology for a long time. So you are not alone if you are just joining, and don't feel behind because it's a moving train, but whatever time you get on, you can easily continue to be in the flow. So please, like I said, what I just want to advise, if you have the time, maybe today, tomorrow, this week, please try to go back to those videos, watch them, and not just watch them, watch to understand and try to apply what you learn. And then when you have questions, you can always come back, circle back on chats, on Teams, on WhatsApp, Discord, even on LinkedIn. You can just drop a message and you get a response from any of the mentors. Okay. Would there be more? Ogunbowale Kehinde.
That's all. And sorry, one more question. Would there be chance for other someone hearing the recording when I'm joining the class is asking, would there be another cohort that they can join as well?
So this program is a 4 months program and it started in February. Yes, started in February. It will run for the next few weeks and then it terminates, but it's always done every year. So there was one last year, there was one the year before. So if there's going to be a next cohort, depending on the leadership of the Microsoft 365 community, if there's going to be another one this year, it would be announced. But then currently it's run every year and that is for sure. But like I said, they can still join because every of the classes they might have missed is still available. It's more like you are just reliving the same meetings we've had when you go back to those videos. So you can just do, I know it might be kind of like taking you back because you have to watch it of the videos, but I tell you, they actually carry the same knowledge that has been shared over the time from February, starting from the first class that was led by the founder of the Microsoft 365 community, Madam Ola Jumoke. If you watch those videos down to where we are today, I'm sure you'll be able to grab what's going on and what the whole mentorship program is all about. And then that's why I said you can always join any. We've had people join 2 weeks at the end of the program and they still flow because everything is available at their disposal. So I don't want to discourage whoever that person is. They can still join. Just know that these meetings hold every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. West African time. And though we've spoken about some other technologies, I think we've done Entra ID, we've done cloud computing and the likes, but they can all watch the videos. And we still have more technology to talk about. There's still Defender, there's still Purview, and some other ones that would probably still interest you. So please, you can ask them to just ensure to join the meetings at that time, set a reminder, and then go back and watch the old videos.
Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much, Kumbali Kende. So I said I was going to be the last question, but I think I just saw Victoria's hand. But because Victoria is someone that would always ask questions, we would allow her to ask this question. So, Victoria, your mic has been enabled. So please unmute your mic and speak.
All right, so mine is not a question today. I just
Okay.
wanted to add to what the lady was asking about documenting, like being practical. So one of the things she can do is to record her screen. maybe a video. So it could be a video content instead of like just writing, and then still post on any social media that she's comfortable with, or screenshots and then talk about it. That's just what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Victoria. Those are actually very actionable points. So if you're able to screen record or share screenshots, those are those even help. Pictures help to drive home the point. So I think that would actually also help to, I think that question was raised by Oluwatoyin, yes. So you can also look into that in whatever publications, you can do videos. I think they can also stream or something. Can look into that as well. Thank you so much, Victoria. All right, so thank you, everyone. I think we've come to the end of the session for today. Thank you for being a great audience and for always listening and sharing. Oh, someone just raised their hand again. It's 10:01. Okay, I'll just allow you, and then once you ask the question, we'll close out. So that's Sunday. Your mic has been enabled. You can unmute.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah. Thank you, Emmanuel and Adekunle. I really enjoyed the session, and all the questions that have been raised have been very educating and so on and so forth. So my question is this, or can I say question or appeal? Because I heard Adekunle saying that there's a WhatsApp group, and we can also meet some of the admin there and ask some questions or some challenges that we may encounter when we are practicing this on our own. So I joined the class right from February up to date. I'm quite surprised that I've not been added on the WhatsApp group. Or is there any other way or request that I need, or things that I need to do in order to be on that group?
Okay. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm actually just checking, and I think it looks like the WhatsApp group is actually filled up, which is why the link might have not been shared over time. But then there is a Discord server. If you have Discord or you have an account, you can easily join that. Or we could find the shareable link of the WhatsApp group itself. Let me see if I can get that for you. But I just dropped the links to the YouTube channel, LinkedIn channel, and LinkedIn page, sorry, as well as the Discord server. But for the WhatsApp, when you join the Discord, maybe when you raise it, we can get the link to you and share with you.
Okay, thanks. All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Sunday. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for making this program very exciting for us as well. Charles. Okay. Last question, because I want to give everyone the fair chance. So last question. Okay, Charles, you can unmute your mic and speak.
Hello, good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening, Charles.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Manuel, for this insightful lectures. Let me call it lectures today. So, we're talking about. I don't know whether I dropped the assignment. Is it the assignment I dropped here on the group?
Assignment? No. There's no assignment yet. But like I said, the personal assignment is to go back, watch the video, and apply what you learned or apply everything that has been taught.
Okay. No problem. Then when we do that, then we can be dropping on the group if we have any challenge. We drop
Yes.
the
So that's why we have the group. The group is not there for attendance, sorry to say. It's there basically so that we can interact. If you have a challenge, if there are questions, opportunities, something you need us to review, if you have a blog post or you've created your content and you want us to review, I'm not even saying review, or you want us to view it, basically, you can just share on there.
Okay. No problem. We'll do that and see how far we can be able to drop what we have learned on the group. And if we have a challenge, then we ask the question necessary. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Some of us like to troubleshoot